7 women Eminem has dated. There are a lot of things that you can say about him, but one thing is certain. Eminem isn't like most other rappers. Since the beginning of his career, he's built a fan base off of going against the grain. His fast-paced lyrical style helped him shift the culture and evolve rap, and his approach remains divisive to this day. Whether you love him or you hate him, you can't deny that Eminem always seems to follow his own path. And while that's mainly true for his music, it's also the case for the way he carries himself as a celebrity. While most other rappers are quick to publicize their personal lives on social media and in the news, Eminem has built a reputation off of being quiet and reserved. He doesn't talk much about his real life, preferring to keep things focused on his music. His private approach also applies to his romantic life. While he makes plenty of crazy claims about women in his songs, he actually rarely divulges details about who he's dating. Aside from one obvious exception, almost all of Eminem's relationships are just rumors, with neither him or the woman confirming them. Some of them, though, are far more credible and believable than others. Before we start the video, though, make sure to click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Now, here are 7 girls that Eminem has dated. Number 7, Corinne Steffens. Corinne Steffens has a bit of an, interesting reputation. She started off her career as a model and video vixen in the early 2000s after a brief but intense relationship with hip-hop legend Kool G Rap. She appeared in a ton of different music videos before becoming an author. She started writing about her experience in the music industry and candidly spoke about all the different romantic and physical relationships she had with different rappers, and she spared no details. In other words, Corinne Steffens not only has a reputation for sleeping with a lot of rappers, but she has also built a pretty successful career off of it, so it's not entirely impossible to believe that she was ever with Eminem. This rumor was born when she publicly released a list of rappers she had been linked with, and she singled out M as one of them. Has Slim Shady ever commented on sparking up a fling with Corinne? No. But that's not totally out of the ordinary. It seems like a bit of a stretch to say that they ever actually dated. You know, like boyfriend and girlfriend. But she was probably telling the truth when she said they briefly hooked up. To be honest, it would be kind of out of the ordinary if M didn't hook up with her. Number 6, Britney Spears. The idea of Britney Spears and Eminem dating might seem totally outlandish at first. Big fans of M will remember the remarks he made about Britney in The Real Slim Shady, where he seemingly wrote her off as an example of everything that's wrong with Hollywood. To most people, Britney Spears represents the pinnacle of manufactured corporate pop music, something that Eminem has always seemed to rebel against. But in another way, these two dating actually makes a lot of sense. They both rose to fame around the same time, and they both quickly became known for generating a lot of controversy, albeit in different ways. Despite being part of the mainstream, both of them seemed to resent fame. As for the rumors of the two dating, it's really just that. It's said that they had a secret fling in the early 2000s, but there isn't a whole lot to back that up. According to Who Dated Who, a website that's the Wikipedia of celebrity relationships, they hooked up in 2002. But no one knows for sure whether they actually went down or not. Her relationship with K-Fed didn't start until a bit later, so it's definitely plausible. Britney seems to be a fan of Eminem to this day, so who knows? This is one celeb relationship that will remain the stuff of mysteries. Number 5, Mariah Carey. One of the biggest stories about Eminem's romantic life has to do with the alleged relationship with the iconic Mariah Carey. Yeah, you heard that right. This one is just alleged, but it's actually not just a rumor created by the tabloids. This one came straight from Eminem's mouth. Let's set the scene. It's the early 2000s and both M and Mariah Carey are major superstars. And then, out of nowhere, Eminem makes a bold statement about a relationship with Carey. According to him, for about a good 6-7 months, but it didn't work. Their personalities weren't right for each other apparently. He added, quote, "She's a diva and I'm a little more regular, I guess." That sounds about right. But it gets weird when you realize that Mariah then vehemently denied the fact that they were ever dating. When asked about it in 2002, she said, quote, "I talked to him, we spoke for a few minutes, whatever, but in terms of me having an intimate relationship, with men I can name all of them on one hand, and he's not one of them," unquote. This sparked a bizarre war of backhanded compliments and musical confrontations between the two. The best example of this is Mariah Carey's song Obsessed, which is apparently a sneak diss to Eminem for misinterpreting their connection. It's been years since, but it seems their misunderstanding is still going on to this day. It's awkward to say the least. Number 4, Ginger Spice. There are a few celebrities that seem like they could match Eminem's intensity in a romantic relationship. If you had to make a list of them, it's pretty likely that Ginger Spice, or any of the Spice Girls really, would make the cut. But believe it or not, there are some pretty serious rumors that these two have dated. Ginger Spice, real name Jerry Halliwell, is definitely a beautiful and talented woman. Aside from her work with the Spice Girls, she's released very successful solo music, acted in a number of movies, and even written a series of children's books. And although she may not be as well known these days, she was a huge star in the 2000s, and Eminem likely just developed a crush on her from afar. He wouldn't have been the only guy to want to date a Spice Girl in the 2000s. There are reports from 2005 about Eminem hoping to meet Ginger Spice on an upcoming trip to the UK, and news came later that the two of them started going on dates after meeting at a hotel in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, there aren't many pictures of the two together, and neither of them have addressed this one publicly. Still, the idea of Eminem dating a Spice Girl is funny enough that we may as well just believe it. Number 3. Brittany Murphy. The untimely passing of Brittany Murphy in 2009 is certainly a tragedy. She had her entire life ahead of her, and she was set to continue blossoming as a major movie star. Sadly, we never got to see what she was capable of. She's now remembered for her work on films like Clueless and Uptown Girls. There is one more movie that Murphy starred in, though it's sometimes forgotten. I'm talking about 8 Mile. She acted alongside none other than Eminem in that film, and the two actually got really close while working on it. Although movie romances don't often translate to the actors actually having feelings for one another, it seems like 8 Mile was an exception. According to Murphy herself, during an interview on The David Letterman Show, the two felt a spark even once the cameras turned off. She didn't get too into specifics though. She simply said that, quote, "It came and it went." As far as Eminem's perspective on their relationship, he said, "Me and Britney became friends, I'll say that. I guess he's not one to kiss and tell." Eminem was interviewed about Murphy again after her passing, and he only had nice things to say about the actress. He said, quote, "It's crazy because at one point we were very close and she was a really good person." It seems like this one was legit. Although it's terrible that Murphy is gone now, Eminem is likely just glad to have been able to spend time with her and get to know her, both on the screen and off the screen. Number 2. Rihanna. For most people, Eminem and Rihanna are really only connected from the song. The 2010 track marked the first collaboration between two of the biggest performers in the music industry, and it was a smash hit. The two have since recorded a few more songs together, but it's not like they are close collaborators or anything. If anything, it seems like they had a very professional and effective working connection. But if you were to ask Eminem, he might tell you something different. Although it came out years after he collaborated with Rihanna on Love the Way You Lie, Eminem brought up her name on his fiery diss track Kill Shot in 2018. Many of the lines from the song aimed at Machine Gun Kelly have now become infamous, but one in particular stands out. After saying that MGK is scared to ask Rihanna for her number, he then makes this surprising claim. Quote, "Rihanna just hit me on a text. Last night I left hickeys on her neck." Yeah, that one caused a lot of heads to turn when Kill Shot first came out. Did Eminem just hear that MGK had a crush on Rihanna, so he decided to come up with some vague reference to a relationship just to get under his skin? Yeah, maybe. But with how much time Em and Rihanna have likely spent in the studio together over the years, it's totally possible that they developed a relationship in secret. Either way, it doesn't matter much now. Rihanna is now with A$AP Rocky and expecting a child, so any spark between her and Eminem is long gone at this point. But if what he said in Kill Shot is true, that's a pretty crazy way to reveal such a high-profile relationship. Number 1. Kimberly Scott. Here's the relationship that every Eminem fan should know about. It doesn't know if you're a casual listener or a die-hard Slim Shady stan. You know about Kim. Not only is she by far the most serious relationship Eminem ever had, but it's the only one that he's ever really publicly confirmed. The start of Eminem and Kimberly Scott's relationship is unorthodox and a bit rocky, and that was a trend that would continue for as long as they were together. They met when Kim was a runaway that stayed at his house in 1987. Eminem was only 15 years old at the time. They started to develop a relationship in 1989, and she was there for all the early stages of his career. They largely lived in poverty and struggled to raise their daughter Haley, who was born in 1995. They stayed together for a few more years before finally getting married in 1999. Unfortunately, their relationship fell apart for several reasons, and they got divorced in 2001. Eminem wrote and recorded some of his most emotional and heated songs during this period of strain between them, including the controversial Kim. If you've never heard it before, let's just say that it probably didn't help him in their divorce proceedings. Interestingly, Eminem and Kim's relationship somehow recovered after this era, and the two of them got remarried 5 years later in 2006. It didn't last long though. Actually, it lasted a grand total of 3 months. As far as where they stand now, it's thought that they have a friendly relationship. Things have at least calmed down quite a bit for them compared to when M recorded Kim.